Hi guys, welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast. In today's episode, we are doing the analysis for Life is Strange Before the Storm, episode 2, Brave New World. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, we recorded part 1 about a year ago, and we've just been awful. We've just forgot about it, really. Other stuff got in the way. But we're a year older now, and we're back to it. We're doing Brave New World. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about. We're going to go chronological in this episode. One thing that I wanted to just mention is that when I fired up this episode, when I redid my stream, I went into mixtape mode, and I noticed that Chloe Price was wearing the same outfit that she will wear, like that you currently have in your playthrough, which I thought was a really cool little detail. Like I thought it would have just been Chloe in the same outfit. I had no idea that she changed. So I just wanted to ask you guys, like, did you have mixtape mode, and do you think that's a cool little thing? I'll start with yourself, Jack.
No, I didn't. How'd you get mixtape mode? Is that like, do you have to pay extra for it? Is that like a deluxe thing or something?
It is. It's deluxe edition, which I bought in a heartbeat. I don't even think it was that much more. Like I think, we talk about Life is Strange now, where you pay $30 more for like Ultimate Edition. I think this was literally like, instead of like $15, you pay like 20. I might be completely wrong, but yeah, like it was just a bargain for me, and I just kind of wanted to support the makers of the game anyway. But how about yourself, Anya?
Yeah, I'll be real, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, mixtape mode. Oh, mixtape mode.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, you Chloe Price, you smoke a joint in the room and you just shuffle the songs from the game in whatever order and you just chill there. It's like the moment of reflection, but you get to kind of chill with Chloe Price. I really like it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but regardless. So, this episode starts and we're in the principal's office with Mr. Ray Wells because we've been naughty. And the first choice is presented basically. Did you take the blame? Because like Rachel steps in and goes, "Oh no, it was my fault. Don't suspend Chloe." Did you go along with her, plan, or did you say no, it was me? Jack, what did you do?
I went along with it because I feel like she was there to bail me out, and I was like, you know what? I'll just go along for the ride, Rachel. Like, you're doing me a solid. Let's just agree what her story is right. And the thing is, like, with this scene, Wells is absolutely giving you a bollocking. Like, it's like the guy's clearly got an agenda against you. So I was thinking, you know what? Yeah, I'll let the heat come off me a little bit and go with her little narrative.
I think the first time, being the Rachel admirer that I am, I was like, nah, man, it was all me, you can blame me. Kind of like in the first game where you can like play as Max and be like, yeah, that's my joint, but every point afterwards, I let her do her thing and I go along with it because, she's an actress. She knows what she's doing. And then also, I don't like the inconsistency that it gives with like Chloe being expelled at that point versus like suspended, because she's supposed to be expelled for like spray painting in the parking lot or something, or graffitiing. So I try to stay a little canon compliant there from the first game.
No, I get you. I think I did the same as you. In my first playthrough, I was like, nah, fuck off, Rachel. I'm taking the fall. Especially because, like, when you play the original Life is Strange game, when you're Max and Chloe sneaking in his office, you find papers that say, oh, Chloe, like, got kicked out or whatever anyway. So I had a feeling it was a bit of a nothing choice. It is actually a pretty big choice, though. It will affect how the play goes later and whether Victoria or Rachel is, like, the lead, So, like, the branching in this episode is actually pretty decent. But yeah, like, and I agree with you, like, with Jack about Ray Wells. He is absolutely going in on you, obliterating you. And we know that he's an alcoholic, and we know that he definitely has his favorites. Like, he protects the Prescotts pretty much. For some reason, he's, like, treating Drew's case differently than yours. So yeah, like, this guy, like, just absolute favoritism. Bullshit headmaster. We hate Ray Wells.
I'll just give Joyce a little shout out as well. I feel like we'll probably do a video on Joyce at one point, but like, she's like a really good mother figure in this scene here as well. Whereas you look at like the Ambers and they're like very quiet, really, as far as that Rachel goes. Joyce is in there, and where Chloe's taking up the brunt of it, she's stepping in and saying, "Oh, it seems funny how like you're sort of more passive towards Rachel, but you're harder on Chloe." is it because of her previous misdemeanors, or is it because she's on financial aid? Like, just her dropping that in there. I don't know. I just feel like that in that moment, she was like a really good mum to Chloe, and she was like backing her up like she properly should.
No, she was actually, like, Joyce does get her critics, but I absolutely loved her in that scene. And I love that theme as well. Like, there's definitely, like, different classes that are at the Blackwell thing. And I think that's one of my favourite themes about the whole Rachel and Chloe thing. They clearly come from different worlds, but how, like, they bond within that. It definitely screams Montague and Capulet, amongst the other sort of Shakespeare references we get, you know, throughout it. But yeah, no, I completely agree with that one.
I think, like, the first time I had to, like, Joyce wasn't really on Chloe's side. She was just kind of like, just be quiet, let the guy talk. And then, like, the better relationship you have with her, like, in, like, the first episode and stuff, then she'll step up for Chloe more. And I do appreciate that a lot. But I wish she would just kind of do that regardless. But
Yeah.
I get it, because Chloe wasn't always the most cooperative with her. But
Nah, I get you. But yeah, no, the branching's sick. But we have Skip that, you know, takes us to get rid of our things. You know, we collect our box amidst, you know, like our joint as well. And as we get kicked out, we stumble across our favourite character, Mr. Elliot Hampden, who invited us to see the play. Did any of us accept his offer to go?
nope.
I did. I'm really surprised. What is going on here? I must have forgotten that he becomes an absolute expletive at the end of this game, because I am stunned by that. And it says here that I was in the majority. 43% intended to go with Elliot.
Like, really?
Yeah. Maybe that's
Right.
export. I don't know, but obviously I played this over a year ago. So yeah, I was in the
Xbox
majority.
gamers, what are you smoking? Honestly, because like the thing is though, it's just such a no for me, because like if you've played the game, you know the kind of person he is, so it's just a no anyway. But even like if you haven't played and you think Elliot might be okay, you know, he could be like a Warren type figure. You're kind of thinking, well, now like Chloe's more suited to Rachel, surely. So I don't know, but fair play though. Regardless, get him comments. He picked Elliot. Nah. But yeah, okay. So like afterwards, we get David and Joyce, who you know are back at the car with you, and David apologizes and he wants to bury the hatchet, and he wants to start on a fresh page. Did you guys accept his apology?
I did, just for like Joyce's sake, but I feel like overall Chloe probably wouldn't agree to start over at that point yet. But for me, I was just like, whatever, I don't want any beef. I'll do this for Joyce because I love my mom, but I don't know.
It's the exact same for me. I feel like you do it for Joyce. I'm pretty sure David says it himself to me, that he's like, oh, you know, he's doing this for you know, her. So I'm like, yeah, okay, like, bury the hatchet. Let's just start to get on. But then it doesn't really matter, does it? Because she always storms off.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, yeah, amid hearing the news that David's moving in, so I think that was kind of like, you know, the calm before the storm, if it will, just to kind of like break that news. I definitely did the same as you guys on my original playthrough, but in the stream they wanted chaos, so I refused it. And then obviously we get to the section where David wants to check your pockets, you know, and it might be that there's a joint in there, it might be that you've got money on, depending how you played the game, whether you bought like weed from Frank or whatever. So I want to ask you guys, did you accept David searching your pockets? And if so, what was the outcome? I'll start with you, Anya.
I think I did because I didn't think I had anything on me, but so I was just gonna be like, check it out, I don't have anything on me. But I think I had like the money from the first episode that I stole or something, because I can't remember if I gave it to Joyce or not. I might have, but I know I had like something on me. I was just like, oops, now I just look silly.
So yeah, same here. I'm looking through my choices now, and there's a bit of a theme emerging. Very compliant, sort of going along. I've went along with Rachel's plan. I'm emptying my pockets. Like, yeah. I guess I had the same rationale as Anya though. There's only money in there.
Yeah, because I think I put money in Joyce's purse in the first episode. So I was like, yeah, search my pockets. And because I didn't buy the drugs, there was nothing in there. And it was the best outcome where David apologizes and then like Joyce is really sorry that they put you through that. And then you get to kind of go on your high horse, like, you guys don't trust me. But when I played it like a second time, I had weed in there, I had money in there. And I was like, oh yeah, you guys are not searching my pockets. And they were disappointed in me. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to let you find it, but I'm not going to let you search me either. But afterwards, so yeah, we storm off and we go to the junkyard. Now, this is where you get to start building up the rusted truck. So obviously, Chloe's truck was such an iconic part in the first game, and we were just mentioning, Jack, a little bit before you joined, Anya, that what I like in a prequel is like the answers of how you get to the main game. So like, what Chloe's hair's brown now, how did it turn blue, kind of thing. And then like she's driverless in this game, but then it kind of shows you her like fixing up this truck, and it's a bit of downtime. It's not like the most adventurous scene in the world. Like if you think Before the Storm, you're not really thinking this scene. But I don't know about you, but I really like going around the junkyard, decorating the truck, and it's just a nice little origin story about how Chloe, like, you know, had it. And I just wanted to gauge you guys' thoughts on what you thought of this whole scene.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I mean, in one of my choices here, I did find the little singing man. I put that on the dashboard. I quite appreciate as well. Like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can vary as to what you put down on the seat, because there is a beach towel, but then there's also like a pirate flag, and I think I put down the pirate flag in my one. But I mean, it's like what we were saying, mate. It's like an origin story of Chloe's car. You know, it's sort of feeding into the things that we've got to know in Life is Strange 1, but we're just sort of seeing it play out in Before the Storm. So it's not an absolutely amazing scene, like you said, but do you know what I mean? It's okay.
Yeah, I agree, where it's just kind of like not the most memorable scene in the world, but I like being able to like kind of customize my car and everything, and like I'll always go for the beach towel just because I love the colors on it, and then like you have some random things to use for a light and cover up the hole, and it's just cool to see how it starts. And I'm always a fan of the junkyard in general and just spending some time in there. Just like the whole fire going on too, and like the smoky backgrounds and everything. Probably not great for her to be out there, but I like the vibe.
No, I do get you. Nah, really cool scene. You know what, as well, like I prefer the pirate flag. I think I had that in my original, but I was rushing it on my stream, and yeah, I picked the hippie flag. I was like, oh god damn it, and I missed the bobblehead as well. But you know, oh well, like I got one in my first one, so that's what matters. But yeah, you get that creepy dream sequence, don't you, where William's face is like half burnt, and there's like a crow there. And again, we mentioned the dream sequences in the last one. There's not too much to mention, but there were times where they got quite dark, and I just really like kind of diving into Chloe's mind and thinking, holy shit. And like we put out that video recently of like Life is Strange hot takes, and a heavy talking point about it was, is Chloe a bad person? And I just like people who think yes, I just almost want them to kind of like look at Before the Storm, and I wonder if they've played it, because Chloe's going through a lot, you know, and I just like don't know if they understand that as much. But yeah. Afterwards though, we get the junkyard scene where Rachel shows up, and again we get to decor more stuff. We get to decorate a shed, we get to change our clothes if we want. And like Rachel has this whole therapy sort of like session with you, which is really cool. It develops their friendship or romance a little bit more. There's not too much I want to say here. Just does anyone want to chime in on what happened here before we get to the RV?
Me, you know how like in the previous episode, it gives you a choice about whether you want them to be something more. I'm pretty sure I picked no. I said, you know, that at this point, they've only been hanging out for a day. They should only be friends at this point. I feel like this therapy scene, though, is like the first instance where you can start to say, okay, there's potential romance here, because like Chloe's obviously spilling out all of her issues, right? And I think it's interesting when Rachel talks and she says, oh, you know, I think that's why I'm drawn to you, Chloe, is that you give less of a fuck. So it's almost like she sees something in Chloe and that's why she's drawn to her. And then it's like vice versa for Chloe as well, because like she's the popular girl that everybody likes. She's got like a well put together life, or at least she thinks she has. So like you can start to see where these two characters are starting to bond, and they've both got like parental issues going on at the same time as well. So yeah, like I think there's actually a lot more to dig into there than had seen previously in other playthroughs and stuff.
I do agree. I know you think that, they've only met in a day, but I would argue that Prospero fell in love with Miranda very quickly in the Tempest, so... Nah, for real. Nah, I completely get you, mate. Anya, anything to add, or did you want to get to the RV scene?
I don't think I have anything, but I like what Jack said. I haven't really thought too much about just that moment in particular and what it means for them, because I try not to think about how little they've known each other at this point throughout the episodes. But yeah, it's a cute scene.
Yeah, you know what? I would love to do what is it, PriceField versus AmberPrice kind of scene, or video, because yeah, it's very divisive, and I think I'm more into the Chloe Rachel ship, but loads of people stand by how it's just Chloe and Max. But yeah, no, I'm completely with you. So yeah, we then have this scene with Frank and that blonde girl that leaves the RV. There's that blonde girl leaving the RV that we saw kissing Rachel's dad in the first episode. So that was really interesting. We will get back to that one though. Before we do though, we see a puppy called Pompidou, which was the dog Frank's dog from the first game. I absolutely love that. And when we went to the RV, it was actually in the back of my mind, I wonder if we're going to meet Pompidou, and because he's going to be way younger, are we going to see a puppy? And we did, and I'm so fucking glad it happened. It's just a nice little Easter egg of fans of Life is Strange. So Jack, I know you're a big dog fan. What did you think of it?
I loved it, mate. And there's this one particular shot as well where I think he's curled up next to Frank while he's driving, and you can see a little hot dog man toy on the floor next to him as well.
Yeah.
So there's a nice little reference to Captain Spirit there. But yeah, I think it's great whenever there's a dog in the game. I'm a sucker for it. So.
Yeah, I love that little guy. He's just a little baby, and I love to see someone like Frank with just a little puppy, and he's going on forums like doggyhelp.com, he's peeing everywhere. What do I do? And he's just yelling at random people. Just I feed him steak. Why won't my puppy eat steak?
Yeah, no, we love Pompidou on this channel. For anyone who threw the toy or the bone out into the road in the first game, fuck off, you are not welcome on this channel. We get to, we're driving with Frank, and he sets you out on this little mission. You owe Frank money. Oh yeah, and that's the point. You can actually pay off the debt, which you have if you have money at this point, to Frank. Did any of you do that?
I didn't have it, so no.
Nah, neither did I. No, we're not paying Frank. Not yet, anyway. But he sets you on this mission where, if Drew, who bullied Nathan in the previous episode, owes Damon, the big drug guy, money, and you've got to find it. So you have to go around, the dorms and stuff. Before, though, we do meet Steph, who asks if Rach is single. What did you guys tell her?
I said no.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't tell Steph that Rachel was single. So maybe that therapy scene had more of an impact than I realised.
Yeah.
No, she's mine.
I originally didn't for that very reason. I was like, yeah, back off, she's mine. Fuck off. But, in the stream, they voted to say she was. And Steph was like, oh, okay, I might make a move. And I was like, Steph is going to hate me now. Why have we voted that? But yeah, I found it quite funny. You bump into Skip, and you can do one of those other back talk sections where you can make him really uncomfortable. And usually, I've said it in a previous episode, I'm not a big fan of these back talk sections because the arguments just seem really childish, and it's how much people cave to Chloe and how it's just supposed to be the replacement for the power. But I will admit, I actually did kind of find it funny in this scene where you're making Skip really uncomfortable. I don't know if you guys felt the same.
Mm-hmm. Skip's just a fun character in general. He was a good addition for this game, I think. And then Enfuego Utero!
Yeah. I hope you are right that the reason he wasn't in the previous game is because his band made it big. So yeah, big up Pisshead or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So we get to the dorms, and you've got to go around Drew's room, and you've got to find the password, the 4-digit code. Now I sort of went around, and I was like, oh yeah, there's Mikey's birthday. It's the 27th of December. And I could not get in. The reason being is because you Americans, Anya, put the fucking month before the day. It makes no sense. So I got the code right, and I just couldn't get in. And then my stream was like, yeah, Americans switched the numbers. I completely forgot about it. I was just like, but yeah, I just wanted to know, did you guys get in easy, or Jack, did you maybe encounter the similar issue that I did?
I mean, probably, mate. Yeah, probably. But it was obviously like over a year ago, so I can't really remember.
But yeah, Anya, explain yourself. Why do Americans do that?
I don't know. It's because you say May 10th and then May 11th. You don't say 11th of May.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do over in the UK. Okay, well, you know, that is a debate for another video, I'm afraid. But either way, we get in. And then Drew's there, and then like Mikey's there, and then Damon joins, and he's like threatening to like, I think he's like, what is it? He's banging on the door, isn't he? And then Drew goes out. Now you can either give the money to Damon, or you can stay out there with Mikey. And there's actually quite a lot of branching that happens. Although as dark as this scene is, because someone gets really hurt and ends up in the hospital, it is really cool to see just what can happen. So Jack, I'll start with you. Do you happen to remember what you did in your blind playthrough?
Yes, I did. I was compliant again, and I stayed in. I'm pretty sure Drew tells you, do not open that door, because obviously his little brother's in there. But yeah, clearly my version of Chloe was very happy to stay in the room while you got beat the shit out of. So yeah, I stayed in there. So I'm imagining, yeah, that Drew then ends up in the hospital later on.
Yeah, his knee gets broken. It's pretty dark. So yeah, it means that, you know, you got to keep the money, lad. Or did you? Which means that you actually get another choice if you do that. Did you keep the money for yourself again, or did you give it to Drew and his family?
Wow. It says here you didn't return Drew's money to him.
So Jack went in there, let him get his knee broken, and then still kept the money. That guy got robbed and his knee broke, and he just walked off with it. Damn, Jack. Savage Jack was returned.
Is over.
Yeah.
Chaos is king now.
Yeah, well, you know, you did the mission, so fair play. Frank will be a happy bunny. You know what? Before we get to you, Anya, I just sort of say, I mean, I sort of did it similar, except that I gave the money. So yeah, like, I was like, I'm gonna stay out here, Drew told me to. When I did my replay, though, I actually decided to mix it up a little bit, and I went outside and I gave Damon the money, because I was like, yeah, let's save Drew. But I had no idea that if you do that, in turn, Mikey goes out with, and Damon, like, punches Mikey, and Mikey falls and breaks his arm, so in turn, he goes to the hospital. So, like, one of the brothers ends up in hospital. And that's probably the worst choice in the sense that, although, yeah, like, you could argue, oh, Chloe stood up, which is a good thing. But if, like, you do, the younger brother ends up in the hospital, he's got nothing to do with it, so it arguably is worse. But it's quite dark that poor Mikey, who's, like, just this, like, innocent little being, like, has that happen to him. So, yeah, it's pretty savage. But, Anya, what did you do in this scene?
First time around, I did stay with Mikey because I was like, sure, not my business. I'm not gonna get my ass beat. But then, like, second time around, and like any time I played afterwards, I did go out there, and I think I gave the money to Damon just to avoid any future problems with him. And then I think too, I just kind of prefer. I know it sucks that Mikey gets hurt because like he's not involved. He's just a little brother. When he breaks his arm. But I like his hospital scene in episode 3 a lot. And I think it's probably better to just have a broken arm than Drew's knees smashed to bits and he can't ever go to his college for sports anymore and just his whole future is ruined.
No, I do get you, yeah, because you do get a really cool bonus scene. I'm pretty sure anyway, if Mike's the one who breaks his arm in episode 3. So yeah, we will get to that one. But yeah, it's just so much branching in this episode, which like I almost wouldn't expect from a Life is Strange episode, but this one delivers it. Now we get to the iconic scene, and Jack, I'm going to give the mic to you because I mean, this is kind of like your favourite part. But I mean, like, we get the play. But before I do, actually, we will sort of mention Victoria a little bit, because whether she's in the lead role or not, based on whether Rachel's excluded or suspended or whatever, Victoria will either try and take the lead role, or you've got to like dethrone her to get it. But we were sort of mentioning a little bit before, weren't we, Jack? Victoria like tries to spike Rachel essentially in this scene, and it's really dark, and you know, there's a lot of fun you can have with it. You can either mix the drinks back, or you can kind of warn Rachel. There's a lot you can do with it. It is very varied. But we were mentioning, Jack, that it doesn't actually sit quite right with us that in double exposure, if you decide to like save Chloe, and then, you know, Chloe's in your double exposure game, that she breaks up with Max, and she's arguably closer with Victoria Chase, that this girl actually tried to roofie Rachel, a girl who, like, in the future would now be dead, and then they're hitting it off as mates. And I kind of agree, that doesn't really sit right with me, and I think you felt the same, Jack, didn't you?
I did, because yeah, in double exposure, you see them like commenting on each other's posts and things. And the wild thing about it is that both of these are Deck 9 games, so you'd think that there'd be some continuity. And again, just as a separate point from this, but I obviously really like Before the Storm. I think it's a really good game, and when we get to the end of the series, I'll sort of give my more overall verdict. But I feel like the writing in this game is strong, and then it goes to double exposure where it's really not strong. And this is where I'm like, God damn it, like, what has happened there? Like, I genuinely think that Before the Storm could be forgiven as like a don't nod game. Like, if you didn't tell me, I'd have just assumed it was a don't nod game, because I feel like it's in that sort of same language and the way like it's all put together, and as what Don't Nod did. So back to this point, yeah, like it makes zero sense. Like, they're constantly at each other's throats, or like they're, you know, enemies when they're at Blackwell. So yeah, really odd.
Yeah. How about you, Anya? Like, what's your take on Victoria this episode?
Yeah, all the stuff you mentioned with like double exposure too, like, to me, double exposure is not canon. I don't like anything really from it. It started out strong, blah blah blah. That's another thing. But it's weird how they were so good about Chloe's characterization in this game. Like, I was thinking about it when you mentioned like the dream sequences with William and like getting into her head, and it's just like they do Chloe so well. And then double exposure, it's like a completely different character. And I get it, like, you know, time passes, people change, but that's just not who Chloe is. And then Victoria is just like how she is in the first game, you know, she's always a bitch. She's always trying to like be the best ever. But yeah, and I ended up like switching the drinks and stuff, so she just like passes out. But it's kind of like a crazy thing in hindsight when it's just like, yeah, I just drugged this girl for this other girl that I'm in love with, and now apparently in the future I've dumped Max and I'm flirting with her now. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I quite agree. It's not canon, honestly. You put it like that, you're totally right. Honestly, fuck that game to an extent. But so like the scene progresses, and Juliet, because of the forest fires, I think, can't get to like the play. So they need someone to step up, and the only person available is Chloe Price, who probably wouldn't dream of ever being on a stage or being in the spotlight. And like I say, Jack, I'm going to give the mic to you now, because this is your all-time favourite scene of the video game. So tell us what it is you like about it and what happened with yourself.
It is my favourite scene. Before I go into it, there is just another thing I wanted to bring up as well. There's an interesting bit when you're backstage where you can eavesdrop on Nathan as well, and he's like getting a grilling from his dad. And said with Joyce, I feel there's so many character videos we could do from the Life is Strange universe. We'll certainly do one on Nathan, but you get to see a little bit into his character and background as well, and perhaps why he ends up the way he does, because he's not always got the most reliable male figures in his life, and that obviously goes on to Jefferson as well, doesn't it? But
Jack, I will just actually butt in, because you're right to mention that, because we do get another choice here, don't we, with that Samantha girl who overhears it, and you have to give her a form of advice or not. And I just wanted to ask you guys what you did. You can either advise to help him or give him space. I just wanted to gauge what you guys picked on that one. How about you, Jack?
I was told to give him space. Yeah, just give him space.
Yeah, I think I did the same. And you know what? I think it is a nothing choice because I think, like it kind of like works for them at the end anyway. But it's just intriguing to see what you say. How about yourself, Anya?
I think the first time around, like, at this point in my life, I was a lot more like sympathetic towards Nathan's character and stuff, and like how he was brought up and how like nobody really likes him. So I was like, sure, whatever, go help him out, let him have a friend. Although I think like later on, last playthrough I didn't bother. I was just like, protect yourself, girl, stay away from him.
Yeah, it is a good point because we know what he becomes. But yeah, very well. But sorry, yeah, Jack, Mike is yours again. Tell us about the play.
Yeah, so in my version of events, I didn't learn the script, but I think I maybe got a couple of bits right because Keaton was sort of impressed, but then after that, it just went completely off script, and I think he was sort of head in hands thinking, oh, what's going on, but I really like this set. It's definitely the one across this entire game that stands out to me. I love sort of like the theatre of it, I suppose is the best word. You've got like the nerves backstage, the Chloe getting thrust in last minute, the costumes, the colours, just like the whole production of it. But it comes back to that point I said earlier about like the therapy bit. I really feel like this play is the significant moment in Chloe and Rachel's relationship because, and it's done really cleverly as well. Like they're obviously going along with the script, but then you can tell that Rachel goes off script, and the music bleeds in. And you can then tell in like what they're talking about that it's done in the guise of the play, but they're actually speaking to one another about their own situation. And it then starts to become a bit more of a love story. And I don't know, I just think it was really, really well done. And I feel like it was at this point when I was like, I really don't see this level of connection with like Max and Chloe in Life is Strange 1, or at least I can't remember it. But with these two characters, I think Rachel brings something out in Chloe where I feel like that, yeah, I just ship these two more.
I love it. It's probably like the scene, like when I think of Before the Storm, or at least like up there in top 3. And I'm not much of like a play, theater, Shakespeare kind of person. But like for Chloe and Rachel's characters too, and their relationship, and seeing how they just like improv and just make it like the most romantic thing in the world, like I don't know. And then the scene afterwards where Rachel's talking about like how like after a show it's always such a high, and I was like, during that scene it was like felt like I was up there on the play, like and the memorizing stuff. I thought like I would have to memorize like actually everything, so I was freaking out. But thankfully it was just like the first line of something every now and then, so I think I did good on that part. And then Rachel just completely takes over for me, and I'm just like mesmerized by the whole thing. And they look great and beautiful, and it's amazing. And I love AmberPrice. And I don't know. It's just such a really good and strong scene, and I like how it parallels like with the characters that they're playing as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. The whole sort of like how the Tempest, like the Prospero and Miranda scene blend seamlessly, like with Chloe and Rachel. It's just done really well. I agree, Jack. The music was spot on. I really like the costume design as well. I don't know why. Like I can picture kind of like Chloe and Rachel in their costumes just as much as I can, and they're just civvy gear for some reason. Like they're just iconic to myself. And it's funny as well because before you step on stage and there's the script there, you can read through it. And I remember saying to myself, I wonder if I'm going to have to memorize this. Probably not. And I went on, and then you have to say the lines. I was like, oh shit, I actually should have memorized them. And I remember when I did the stream, because I knew that was coming, I assigned like a different fan with a different page. I was like, you remember this page, you remember this page. And then we rehearsed it, and I think we did it perfectly, which was cool. But I remember in my blind playthrough, I think I messed up 1 or 2 lines. But I actually think it's better when you do, because you improv it, and Mr. Keaton is just such a great character, because the way he reacts when you fuck a line up is golden. I said something like, I think the line's like hell is empty, but I said like hell is full, and then he was there cringing in the background like, oh, if only. And I don't know, just like his line delivery was golden, so there's just another scene there. I always say that this is probably my second favorite scene in the game because I'm just a sucker for that train scene of like Rachel and Chloe skipping school together in the first one. But this is definitely up there. And then I think the icing on the cake as well is when like Chloe's just in the background when Juliet eventually subs in, and then Rachel's like, "Now you're getting on here," and then she gets to take a bow. And there's also like the little thing as well where when you check your phone afterwards, Joyce says, "Oh, apparently you're in the play. I would have liked to have seen that." And it's a little heartbreaking, but I was like, "Oh, okay." I like the fact that the text and there is continuity throughout it, and it kind of like paints the relationships that you have around on your phone as well. So yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you guys. Absolute iconic scene. They smashed it out of the park with this one. And then you talk about that whole fly high, and then you like walk home with Rachel, and you're obviously very happy because you've just smashed the play or not maybe. And then you get a choice here of like what you want from Rachel. You can either pick a bracelet, a tattoo, or a kiss. So Anya, which one did you pick?
I had to smooch. I had to, especially after following a scene like that. And then with these games, any chance I have to be a girl kisser, I will be a girl kisser. And then it just, I don't know, it fits so well, in my opinion. And it's just the way it's shot too. It's such a cute, like, I don't know, I love it. It makes me all giddy to think about it.
Yeah, I did the same. Like, well, on my stream, I did the tattoo one just to see what happens. But you know, in my blind playthrough, I definitely asked for the kiss because I think as well, like in the first episode, you obviously had the bit of drama where Rachel goes sour and then you have to get her back, and it's not the right time. But in this one, you just had the play. You kind of just had this bonding experience together. Like she like stuck her neck out for the line of you at the start of the episode. Then you do this play together. And it just felt right, and I don't know, there was just something like that seemed really kind of like romantic about like the environment as well, with like the street and like kind of like the street lights out with like the fireflies or the moths around them, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. But I'm saving you for last, Jack, because I remember, you know, you're probably the person who didn't pick something more in the last episode. So I just wanted to gauge, what did you do in your blind playthrough? And is because you're more of like a AmberPrice fan now, is there a part of you that's come around and is more lenient to the kiss option, perhaps?
No, I did. I picked Kiss. I picked Kiss.
Oh, okay.
I feel like because it was the first episode and they'd only hung out for a day, I was like, okay, it'd be a little bit silly to get to that sort of like romance stage at some point, but that's why I really like this episode, because you really get to see their arc and their romantic arc sort of come together. And I feel like after the therapy, after the play, this felt like the perfect point that romance was going to be seen, right? So, yeah. I went in for the kiss, and it's weird because it's like it's written so well, and then I compare it to, you know, again we're going to go back to Double Exposure, where, you know, as Max you get to kiss Vin or Amanda, right? And those felt so hollow, those moments, because the writing wasn't there for it to really feel like it was a worthy moment, whereas with this one it did. So I was in for the kiss as well.
Very well. So yeah, we have 3 AmberPrice fans on this channel, guys. So if you're a PriceField fan, let us know in the comments if you're hating every moment of this. We'd love to fight you. We get to the final scene of this episode, where we go into the Amber household. Now, our knowledge at this moment in time is that the dad is a cheater, so there's just a lot you can do around it. It's quite a long sort of downtime scene where you go around and, you know, like you can look at like the laptop and see that he's deleted his internet history. The thing that sticks out to me before like the final sort of reveal and like the plot twist that we get, the thing that really stuck out to me was just like, and I mentioned it a bit earlier, like the class difference. Chloe is clearly not in her element. Like this household is clearly very clean, quite like upper class. It's obviously like the building's a lot nicer. Even little things like how the dad asks for a sherry and you have to help him get that. Like, you know, he's drinking a sherry, not like a bottle of beer. So I just love the absolute awkwardness of Chloe trying to like talk to like the parents and how she's like consistently failing. I just wanted to ask you guys what you thought of this scene. I'll start with yourself, Jack.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I feel like as well though is that they're not exactly a humorous bunch, are they, the Ambers? Because like Chloe even tries to get a little bit of playfulness going with them, like with the Sherry bit. Like I think he says like, let's say Sherry, and then she turns around and goes 1, 2, 3 Sherry, and he just looks blankly at her. Like it was just like an innocent joke, and like they didn't really go for it. And I think she does it with the mum as well, like to put the china on the table, and then she says, I can't go all the way to China. Again, she gets nothing from it. Like there's just such a massive disconnect there, but you can even see it in the girls when they go into the house. Like they've just had this meaningful scene, but suddenly they're in that house and they're sort of stood very rigid, and it's all, you know, Mr. Amber wants this, and it's very formal, and it feels like they can't express themselves or be themselves. So I think it's clever because in a way it emphasises that like they need to break out of what they currently are at.
Nah, I get you, and I almost relate to it in a sense because like my parents are like very like well mannered. Like I don't swear in front of my parents, and it like I always get that where I hang out with my friends or like exes and stuff, and then I come inside the house and I'm like, all right, I'm this different human being. So I completely get it from Rachel's sense actually. So that's a very good point. Anya, what about yourself? Did you enjoy the scene? What did you make of it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's painful though to see Chloe be so awkward. But like this episode in general is just like a fun piece of Chloe lore. Like, oh, what do you mean like Chloe Price was in a play and then she's like back talking everybody and super sassy and badass, but then she's just like the most awkward human being in front of these rich parents of this really cool girl she likes. So I liked her attempts, but it hurt me a little bit.
Yeah, and I completely get it because she obviously in her own house, like, is this girl that like has like graffiti and posters on the wall, and she probably smokes joints in her room and stuff. And then like out of nowhere, she's going into this like household where there's supposed, you know, like strong figures, you know. And I think like the dad is like, what is he like he's like an attorney or something, or he's like this politician figure. I might mix that up with the Prescott dad.
Yeah, like a
Senator, I think that's it. Yeah. So like clearly she's almost like a little bit struck by it, and she has to act differently, and she's not in her environment. And yeah, it is really comfortable to see. But I do agree, it is awkward. It is painful to witness our girl Chloe have to go through this and navigate her way. But we get to this big scene where, like, obviously we know that the dad's cheated, and Rachel starts acting out at the dinner scene, and then you can either blow up on the dad, or if you do nothing, Rachel will. So I just wanted to ask, Anya, I'll start with you. Who ended up attacking the dad?
I think it was Rachel, from what I can remember. I didn't want to like get involved, and because that was her like bone to pick, so I didn't want to be like blah blah blah. I know all this stuff about you. I'm this random stranger kid in your house. So yeah, I think it was Rachel who did, and I think it's more satisfying if she does it too.
Yeah, agreed. I let Rachel do it. It's more her thing, and it obviously it's like Anya's just saying, like, you've only known the Ambers for like the day, so to then have, you know, you then kick off, it wouldn't feel right. But it again, like it's clever because it's like the way things are characterized. Like even before you go into the Ambers' house, you see the sign, don't you? Because obviously where James is like the DA. It says loyalty, honesty, integrity for like his like slogan for like his thing as the DA. You can then see like where the fakeness comes from because it stems from him, like with all the hypocrisy and the stuff that he's doing behind the scenes, and obviously we'll explore that in episode 3 more. And then it sort of, that's where Rachel's sense of unease comes from, because it feels like her whole life has been fake. So it's really good, like the way they've sort of characterised like subtly as well.
Yeah, I can't remember which I initially did, but yeah, I remember I was breathtaken by the twist because I just didn't expect it to go in that direction, where Rachel's mum wasn't Rachel's mum, and I really felt for Rachel. That must be massive if, like, you know, because this girl would have been what, like 16, 17 at this point, I imagine, to like understand that your whole life has been like a lie. So I really felt for the girl, and it actually kind of hit me a little bit. So yeah, I just wanted your takes on how you felt about the twist.
Yeah, I didn't really see it coming in that moment either. But you know, looking back, it's pretty obvious. Like that woman does look pretty similar to Rachel, so it makes sense. I just didn't really piece it together. I'm like, she's got to be important somehow, though. Obviously. And then it just kind of is a good cliffhanger to leave it on to, because then we get to learn more about her afterwards, and then Rachel's gotta like cope with all of that, and then she's already blowing up.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming. I feel like when you look at the mysterious woman, as we'll call her at this point, you know, I think it's the hair really, where you think, okay, is she like some sort of secret relative? But certainly not the mum, because you know we saw the mum in like the very first scene in Wells's office. So yeah, I think it was a good twist, and it probably would have been good back in the day when, you know, this was released episodically, you know, because you then got to wait a couple of months or whatever to find out what happens next.
Anything else to mention, or shall I wrap up? You guys have any other burning things you want to say?
Yeah, I do actually. One of which is more in your sort of like forte, mate. But I did want to bring up voice acting, but more so on like Rachel's part, because I do feel like, and I've seen this with Lost Records, and I've seen it with Double Exposure as well, where especially when you get into romantic relationships and like deep relationships, sometimes if it could be the writing, it can be the voice acting, but something just doesn't translate for me, like certain relationships. But as you all know, I do ship Rachel and Chloe in this game, so I almost want to give praise to whoever voiced Rachel in this, because I don't know, I just find her a very, very compelling character actually. I feel like that is the strength of Before the Storm. We've got to do a video on it. I'm not saying Max is a bad character. I do think she's slightly overrated, but you know, we'll cover that another time. But whereas in this game, I think that Chloe and Rachel were very strong characters, and they're written well, voice acted well, and yeah, I think that goes a long way. That's what carries a lot of this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what? Like, because I do like the voice acting. You are right, but the thing I was going to mention, and thank you for bringing it back up because I have it written down. I completely neglected to mention it. That there are certain voice actors that are gone, right? So Chloe isn't voiced by Ashley Birch anymore. She's voiced by Rihanna DeVries, who, like, in my opinion, does a solid job of like seeming like Chloe but a younger Chloe. So I think that was really good. But one character that particularly sticks out to me, and I don't know if you guys realise this, but we come across the school janitor, Samuel. He sounds so fucking weird in this game. And apparently it was to do with the fact that there was a voice actor strike which happened, so they brought back different voice actors. But yeah, I don't know if this took you back, but when Samuel speaks, it's weird. He doesn't have the same, like, chilling nature either. The guy almost just sounds, like, bored. He doesn't want to be there. So yeah, like, did you guys realise that at all?
I don't think so. And then isn't the first game, like, he's also voiced by Mark Jefferson's?
Oh, is it? I didn't know that. But yeah, that guy's an elite voice actor as well. So, but no, I do agree though. Like Rachel and Chloe, like if their voice acting isn't as strong as it was, then I probably wouldn't buy into the romance as much as they do. So hats off to Rihanna DeVries, and I'm not actually sure who voices Rachel Amber, but that person as well.
I think just one little thing for me, I can't remember if we mentioned it last episode at all, but we didn't talk about the graffiti scene in the bathroom at the beginning, like before the title card or whatever.
God, I think
that's probably one of like my favorite openings.
You are right. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love the song choice. I love Daughter. And then I love in particular too, like all the quotes that she's writing down. And then you can see like the, in case of emergency, break glass, your actions will have consequences. And then like -Max. So that's like a neat little foreshadowing for the like first game in that bathroom.
Yeah, it's quite dark as well to think that that is the same room where she will encounter her demise. But yeah, like the fact that she graffitis over it, and then you've got the song like "Don't Care" or "No Care" by Daughter over it, really iconic. And the cherry on the cake again is just Victoria walking in the bathroom and being like shocked afterwards. I absolutely love that reaction. So yeah, no, I'm glad you pointed that out. I fucking love that scene. Guys, thank you very much for joining this episode. Be sure to tune in next weekend. We'll try and do it soon. We won't wait a year this time. For Life is Strange Before the Storm, Hell is Empty. And if you're wondering if we are going to do Farewell, don't you worry, we will be doing the bonus episode Farewell as well, that tearjerker. But guys, comment everything, comment your choices below, comment what you thought of the episode, comment if you agree or disagree with our points, we'd love to hear them, we replied to everyone. Like and subscribe, all that jazz. Until next time, we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
See you later.